Hey everybody, welcome back to Fallout Equestria. Let's go! Oh wow,
Blam.
2 hours, holy fuck.
The bloodwing screeched as the bullet from my sniper rifle tore through its abdomen. The
Soda.
dark shadow tucked in its wings, spiraling downward, disappearing into the storm. Sheets of rain lashed across the Sky Bandit. I was relying more on sats than my own vision. Above us, Steelhose was doing the same. The rhythmic booming of his grenade machine gun and the shrieks of the bloodwings filled the air. "Where the hell did they all come from?" Calamity shouted, firing the twin guns on his battle saddle as the dark form of one of the giant bats swooped up in front of us. There were far more than the dozen I had originally counted. This was a whole damned flock. I heard the thud as one of them landed on Steelhooves above, biting at his armor in a futile effort to pierce it. Another swirled up out of the rain and slammed into the side of the Sky Bandit, rocking it, and sending me tumbling backwards off the bench I had perched on. My sniper rifle clattered to the ground. Green flame erupted across the side of the Sky Bandit, the burning bloodwing letting out an ear-splitting screech of agony and falling away as the heavy rain washed away the flames. Pyrelight flashed through the air, piercing the air with a battle cry as she dove after it. I blinked, struck by the impression that the Balefire Phoenix had a vengeful hatred for the creatures. Another bloodwing latched itself onto the opposite side of the passenger wagon, viciously thrusting its head into one of the windows, gnashing at us. Velvet Remedy's combat shotgun roared, and I was splattered with what had once been inside of the creature's head. As Zenith knocked the body of the bloodwing away, I threw myself to my hooves, leaving the sniper rifle and drawing out little Macintosh. We were in the thick of them now, and Applejack's trusty little revolver
Excellent! That means we can fire in all directions!
was the fastest and most powerful weapon I had. For a moment, I felt bad for our zebra. Her fighting style was absolutely useless in this kind of situation. I leapt to the window, slipping into sats and taking aim at the first dark shadow I saw. Blam! Blam! The first shot went through the bloodwing's back. The second tore a hole in its left wing. It fell from the sky only for another one to take its place immediately, lunging towards my window in particular. Blam! 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 The creature's momentum carried its body into the side of the Sky Bandit with a meaty thump. I heard the impact of meat on metal as a tearing sound ensued. The black mass of two bloodwings tumbled into the drenched air behind us, Steelhose entangled between them as they fell, disappearing into the torrential downpour. I cried out, throwing out a telekinetic net, but he was already gone. And, a few seconds later, several more bloodwings were swirling around us. One of them was engulfed in green flame from beneath. A few yards back, Zenith kicked open the door to the passenger wagon, staring out at the black forms whipping about us in the blankets of rain. Before I realized what she was planning, the zebra leapt, soaring out into the air and landing onto the back of one of the giant bats. She drove the spear of her hellhound helmet through the monster's head, then jumped from its falling corpse towards the nearest opponent. And I felt sorry for her, I thought, watching as she impacted the creature's wing and slashed it off with her hellhound claw horn before falling into the darkness where more unsuspecting bloodwings awaited. I should feel sorry for her enemies. A giant bat dove onto Calamity, its huge wings dwarfing his own. I spun, targeting, and fired. Blam! Click, click. Little Macintosh's remaining bullet tore into the monster. It squealed. Calamity tried to buck it off, but the bat sank its huge razor-sharp fangs into the Pegasus. Calamity screamed. Velvet Remedy galloped past me, firing repeatedly with her combat shotgun, tearing the monster to pieces before it could drink. The Sky Bandit lurched in the air. Calamity was hurt badly, and the ripped corpse of the giant bat was still latched onto him. But he wasn't dead. A moment later, I saw how horribly close he had come to dying. The Sky Bandit dropped, jolting with turbulence as Calamity fought to land. The ground came into view, and I could see the two figures we had rushed in to save. Two young zebras, no older than the young mare with the Arbu mark, Clearglass. As I reloaded, a bloodwing dropped on—
Oops, I hit pause recording instead of pause video, my bad. Anyways, I just noticed the description of this video. Oh, fuck, nope, sorry, get out of there. Warning, warning, wall of text incoming. Just a precaution, I think you guys can handle it. And then followed under that in all capitals is, I was wrong! So horribly and dreadfully wrong! Oh, I love that. Fucking 2 hours of right, goddamn.
knocking her to the ground. I tried to move faster, but it took only a second. The monster plunged its fangs into the zebra's side and drank. The zebra withered into a desiccated husk faster than her brain could die. No, damn it, no! I howled, snapping little Macintosh shut. I targeted the monster with sats as it cavorted over its kill. But the Bloodwing was torn apart by a charging Zenith faster than I could pull the trigger. I do not understand, Zenith said. Why were there 3 of you traveling in such dangerous hills, and in such a storm? We were all huddled together under the glittering dome of Velvet Remedy's shield spell. I watched as barrels of rain cascaded down over the barrier of light, struck by the strange sense of beauty from it. The surviving young zebra had been dried by repeated use of Velvet's cleaning spell, as had we all, and was wrapped in a blanket from our supplies, which needed similar de-drenching. Zenith had built a fire and was sitting next to it, across from the other zebra, a pot of purely vegetable soup beginning to bubble between them. The young zebra had just seen his 2 childhood friends die in the most horrible manner. He needed more than a blanket. I knew it wasn't much, but I had come to believe in the miraculous power of hugs. Zenith,
Powerful
however,
indeed.
didn't hug. Zenith didn't touch unless it was to hurt something. Velvet Remedy was tending to Calamity's wounds, using her magic and Zenith's bleed-stopping goop to remove the fangs embedded in the Pegasus's back safely before medical potions could be administered. None of us had seen any sign of our Applejack's ranger. Getting up, I trotted over to the young zebra buck and lay down next to him. I'm so sorry, I whispered. I should have been faster. I paused, unsure if suddenly embracing this strange zebra was the best thing for him after all. And, to my shame, a tiny part of my mind warned that I had been fooled into caring for evil folk before. I mentally dropped an anvil on that part of me, and then banished it to the moon. Instead, I put a tender hoof on one of his, holding it gently. Just a simple touch. He started, looking first surprised, then grateful. We had to, he said at last. We were too old. Looking at Zenith, he questioned. You are not from Glyphmark. Glyphmark?
Shit, is it Little Lamplight in Big Person Town? Ah, shit.
Mark, Zenith asked. The younger zebra nodded. I am sad to say I do not know of this place. This is a zebra village. What do you mean, too old? Calamity asked while grunting. He gritted his teeth as Velvet Remedy pulled the second fang free and quickly applied a hoof covered in Zenith's mixture to the flowing wound. The zebra looked at us strangely. Who are you, ponies? Friends, I answered gently. He looked at me with suspicion, then sadness. My friends are dead. He turned to Zenith. Quoth and Zuna had been my friends since we could walk. We did everything together. We even got our marks together. He choked, tears forming in his young eyes. We got kicked out of the tribe together, too. Now I hugged him. I held him and let him sob into my side. The downpour finally relented, leaving a light drizzle in its wake. I looked into the sky, turning my gaze towards the mountains. There, nestled in the open jaw of a cliff, were the darkened spires of the Canterlot ruins. We could be there in hours if we wanted to, but instead we were going the other way. Velvet Remedy's beautiful voice sang across the hilltops. No more living in this gilded cage, shackled to what is supposed to be. I'm ready to exit this stage, it's time for this bird to fly free.
Y'all already know my opinion on this.
Calamity cut in with perfect timing, his voice a pleasant counterpoint to the luxurious voice of the unicorn mare. I've been blinded 'cause I closed my eyes, seeing just what they told me to see. Time to get up and shake off the lies, break their rules, stretch my wings and just leave. Together they belted forth the chorus of their duet, their voices daring the slate-gray sky and the ceaseless rain to even try to make the day gloomy for them. I'd missed this. We were trotting towards Glyphmark. Calamity flew alongside me, pulling the Sky Bandit no more than a pony's height above the ground. The mere idea of boarding the flying thing had driven the young zebra to panic, so we walked, escorting him towards his new home. It was better this way anyway, I thought. I had been cooped up in that passenger wagon for days, recovering physically from my head trauma, and psychologically from the most soul-destroying worst day ever of my lifetime. Physically, I was healed. Mentally, well, I was capable of pushing on. What I had done would never quite heal. The reality of that turned my thoughts to Steelhooves. Another reason to walk. I had to trust he would find us, and when he did, it would be best if we were on the ground. Otherwise, he might just shoot a missile to get our attention.
That's how they do
I cannot hope
it.
to change things if I do not even try. I cannot heal another if I just lay down and die. There's a whole world beneath us, and a whole sky above. As the voices of Velvet Remedy and Calamity joined forces once more for the last line of the verse, and another rousing chorus, I turned to my zebra companion.
I'll be honest, it doesn't even sound like that good of a song, but that could just be this guy who can't sing, or at least he can't do it well.
Zenith trotted along beside me, the young one between us. Do you still wish to seek out the tribe itself? There is no need, Zenith intoned gravely. My daughter is no longer with them. The young zebra had wept openly, unable to stop once he had started. He had blubbered, sobbing and mourning the loss of his friends. And in the spaces between his words, I began to construct a picture of what had happened. The trio of friends had come from the tribe that Zenith's daughter had once been a part of.
Cool.
The tribe that formed from those who were left behind when the slavers fell upon Zenith and her village. Zebra foals, all of them. My parents and husband were slain in the fight, Zenith had told us. My daughter was too young for Stern's slave pits, and she had no place in Red Eye's schools, so Stern left her there, along with the other children. An entire tribe of children, living under the shared belief that being an adult meant being ripe for slavers, that having adults in the tribe invited attack. And while the slavers might not take the children, that didn't mean that they wouldn't do much more horrible things to them instead. And just how did they decide when a zebra is suddenly too old? Calamity had asked. The answer was obvious. It wasn't a matter of birthdays. It was a matter of maturity. You were too old when you got your mark. Just like in Staple 2. When you got your cutie mark, you were an adult. And from that moment, you joined the workforce. Only here, in the zebra tribe, it was a dreaded event. I nodded to Zenith. She had suffered in the slave pits for many years since the attack on her village. Her daughter was young, but hardly an infant, and the zebra with us only vaguely recalled when the mare had herself been ostracized from the tribe. If she still lives, my daughter will be in Glyphmark. Glyphmark sucked. I looked down the hill at the rows of sad, dilapidated shacks with their sunken roofing leading up to the half-collapsed building in a yard of junk. The whole town was surrounded by a wall of scrap that looked like it couldn't keep a rad hog out. The ground...
What do you expect, man? They were kids who were cast out without any, training or knowledge or shit. Frankly, I'm actually surprised they got this far. That's impressive. I mean, impressive considering they completely lack all skill and knowledge, but, you know... For that, it's impressive. Otherwise, it's kind of sad.
The ground was dark and lifeless mud. The hoofful of zebras looked battered and dejected, their eyes downcast, their heads low, their manes and tails tangled and unkempt. It looked like a town that was just waiting to die in the wasteland. I could make out the letters spelling Angel on the front of the ruined building, the last remaining word of a forgotten name. Whatever angel had once watched over this town, it had fallen. As we approached, the zebras looked up fearfully. I saw two of them nudge a third forward. The mare stepped towards us. We surrender, just don't kill us, she called out. We don't have anything, but take it.
Alright, that kind of makes me smile. Just walk up to the town like, we surrender! Don't hurt us!
Whatever you want. I could feel my barely mended heart breaking. This is Glyph Mock? Zenith asked in a tone of disbelief. The young zebra buck with us nodded, rocking slightly on his hooves, looking sucker-bucked. Velvet Remedy trotted forward. Hello, she said gently, her voice calming. Do not be afraid, we mean no harm. We're just travelers who happened to cross a newly marked buck and offered to help him make his way here safely in all the rain. Conflicting emotions swam across the faces of the zebras. I could tell how desperate they were for the approaching strangers to intend no malice, yet how hard it was for them to believe. Having brought him here, we will all depart at once if you wish, although I would ask your indulgence. We have trotted far and seek a safe place to rest.
Dude, these were tribal kids who had lost all their parents and never learned any trades or life skills. They don't know what the fuck you're talking about. We want your indulgence. What the hell does that mean, dude? Are you going to kill us? Is that what that means? What? Like, oh, I kind of like it when people use overly fancy speech on a bunch of dumbass tribals or kids, because the kids and tribals don't know what the fuck they're talking about. How long was this paused? How long was this paused for? Ah, shit. I gotta go. Oh, fuck.